both the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, and former UNHCR Mary Robinson, who was also the former President of Ireland, concluded a visit last week to both Israel and the West Bank, and they have concluded that Israel is drifting into apartheid, with the government driving Jewish supremacy. So I wonder if you were aware of these reports, or if you've seen them, and if you have any comment on them. Do you agree with their assessment?
So I will let the representatives from the UN speak to and clarify their own comments, Saeed, but I will reiterate that that is not a term that we have used to describe Israel's actions. And broadly, we continue to work towards a negotiated two-state solution along the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps. The international community has also worked tirelessly toward this goal, and the United States, along with our international partners, are going to continue to pursue this. We continue to believe that it's important to advance equal measures of justice, of freedom, of dignity, and those are important means to advance a negotiated two-state solution.
One other issue. You know, today the Secretary Blinken said that the continuing violence hinders any efforts to sort of normalize between Saudi Arabia and Israel, or efforts at normalizing. He citing the violence that it's happening. He cited, of course, settlements, the violence, the settler violence, and so on. But then, you know, we are looking at 4 months after the attack on Hawara, the village, 4 months ago, and so on, and nothing really has happened. No one has been prosecuted. So, other than expressing these sentiments, I mean, it's the same old question. So what can the U.S. do to make sure that those perpetrators are brought to justice?
Saeed, the Secretary and this department have been unambiguous on this issue. The United States continues to be deeply concerned by the rising trend of extremist settler violence. We unequivocally condemn all acts of extremist violence, whether it be by Israelis or Palestinians. To your question, though, accountability and justice should be pursued with equal rigor in all cases of extremist violence. In the case of Hawara, we welcome the IDF's condemnation of these acts and expect the Israeli government to ensure full accountability for those responsible for those attacks, including legal action and restitution of lost homes and properties as they deem appropriate. And we regularly raise this issue broadly with our Israeli counterparts. Israeli security officials themselves have characterized this violence as national terrorism. We very much welcome steps that are being taken, Saeed, including the June 25th joint statement by top Israeli security officials condemning extremist settler violence against Palestinian citizens, and we equally welcome similar statements made by Defense Minister Gallant yesterday, including his commitment to hold perpetrators accountable under the law. Anything else before we move away? Go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has said he's been invited to China. I wonder, sort of in the context of that and the visit by the Palestinian Authority president as well to China, do you see China potentially playing a role in securing peace in the Middle East?
So, Simon, to take a step back, as Secretary Blinken and others in this department have said, countries can have a relationship with the PRC just as we do, and we expect the Netanyahu government and the Prime Minister to raise issues of their interest and of mutual concern on a potential visit to Beijing. I, of course, will let them speak to any of their own forthcoming travel. What I will say, though, is that what I can speak about is the United States, and the United States is going to continue to remain deeply engaged in the region, both as it relates to continuing to pursue and advocate and push for and work with the parties directly as it relates to a negotiated two-state solution, administration, but also when it comes to regional integration and normalization as well. That continues to not only be a priority for this administration, but also a direct priority for the government of Israel and the governments of many of our regional partners also.
And there's still no invite for the Prime Minister to come here.
So the White House has spoken to any potential invites for Prime Minister Netanyahu. I certainly wouldn't speak to any updates on that from here and don't have any to share. And so we'll just refer you to them to speak to any forthcoming visits. What I can say, though, is that we engage and talk with our Israeli counterparts and our Israeli partners directly. You just saw the Secretary spoke with Foreign Minister Cohen. Assistant Secretary Leaf was recently in the region directly engaging with our Israeli partners. Ambassador Nides also continues to talk to his counterparts. We talk to the members of the Israeli mission here in D.C., as well as throughout the United States. We continue to engage on these issues directly.
It would be concerning to you if, like, your major ally in the region, Prime Minister of your major ally in the region went to China before coming here?
I think it's important to not get caught up in things like sequencing and choreographics like that, and it's more important to stay focused on the substance of the issues. And the substance of the issues are that we are in direct contact and engagement directly with our Israeli partners, and we have a number of issues at the nexus of our relationship that we look forward to continuing to engage on bilaterally.